everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about my first half of January wrap-up. So first wrap-up of 2024, and you guys, I have been, December I think was pretty slumpy for me, and then lately I've just kind of been on a tear, and I feel really good about that. So I have a lot of books to talk about. Not a ton, not actually more than average, but I'm really excited to talk about it. So I know a lot of creators don't love doing wrap-up videos, but I kind of do. I'm going to be honest, I'm filming this January 21st because I like to get the 1st through the 15th, which that fell at the beginning of this week. And so I can only film on the weekend, so light it out. But so I'm going to be honest that some of these are getting a little hazy in my mind, but I'm still really excited to talk about them. So first, as always, let's talk about the stats. So in the first 15 days of the month, I read 9 books and DNF'd 1. That's 3,391 pages, which is 226 pages per day. The average length of my books was 377 pages, so I read about 0.6 books per day. I read 7 novels, 1 tome, and 1 graphic novel. I think last year I got a little off on tracking the tome situation. I don't love, so tomes are books over 500 pages. I don't love that at all. It honestly really intimidates me. There's very few authors that I will willingly dive into that long of a book. But you'll see this is one of them. And I want to make sure that, I want to track those better because I wonder how many I'm reading. So I read 6 that were adult, 2 that were new adult, and 1 that was middle grade. Of course, these books are not, these stats are not including the books that I read with my kids. These are just the ones I read individually. 8 were from my shelf. 1 was from somewhere else. Pat myself on the back for that because my goal is at least 50%. And I've really been towing that line. But this month, I think that's probably why I'm on a reading tear, is because I really focused on my own shelves, and that feels really good. And then as far as the way I read these, I would love to say that I read all of these just physically off my shelf because that's what I love, but that's not how it works. I usually go to my physical TBR and we'll read some off my shelf, but I will also try to find a digital copy. So I read 5 from Libby, 2 that were just on my shelf, 1 from Kindle Unlimited, and 1 from the library. As far as format goes, I read 4 primarily on audio, 3 physically, and 2 ebooks. 1 was new release, and all the other 8 were backlist. I'm counting new release. Typically, I do new release as just the year we're in. However, since it's January of 2024, that didn't seem fair. So I did anything in the last 6 months. So there's still only 1 new release. And then as far as genre goes, I read 3 thrillers, 3 romance, 1 women's fiction, 1 historical, and 1 contemporary. So, this month, so far anyway, this first half of the month, my reading was really guided by, my book haul revisit, which you have probably seen. It's live already, so I'll link it down below, as well as my Read in the New Year readathon, which I just started at the end of this. So that's kind of what prompted a lot of these books. So let's just get into the books. I'm going to talk about the books that I read with my kids first. There are, 3, 6, 7 of them. So I'm going to talk about those real quick. These, I don't, if you guys are new here, I have a 5, 3, and 1-year-old. My 5 and 3-year-old love chapter books, love listening to stories, and these are the books we read together. So the first 3 are part of the Daisy Dreamer series. We have The Great Bunny Escape, A Daisy at the Beach, and The Bad Luck Day. So this series is about Daisy Dreamer. She's this little girl with a big imagination. She's got this imaginary friend named Posy, and Posy lives in the world of make-believe. And in the beginning of the series, they kind of toyed with having Daisy go to the world of make-believe. And I didn't like those books because, 1, I'm not a fantasy reader, and 2, I felt like the world was a little underdeveloped. But in these, Posy comes to her. So The Great Bunny Escape, they're trying to find a bunny, of course. Daisy at the Beach, she dreams she's a mermaid and stuff. It's really fun. And then A Bad Luck Day. These were really good to talk about luck and what we believe about luck and where we put our attention and all of that. So I really like these series and will continue to read them. Next, we have another series this is a UK series, Isadora Moon Saves the Carnival. So it's a UK series, and we can't get them all here. I think we've just about read all the ones we have. And so it's Isadora Moon Saves the Carnival or Isadora Moon Goes to the Fair. Both are the same book, different titles. Can you guys hear? I don't know if you can hear. Etta's just wrecking stuff down here. We call her Wreck-It Ruth because her middle name is Ruth, and she loves to wreck stuff. So sorry if you can hear banging. But anyway, Isadora Moon, she goes to a carnival that is really struggling, and she uses her magic to fix things. And so it's a fun book, especially my kids have never been to a carnival, so they were really like entranced by it. Next we have another series that I'm like meh about. This is I Love Adventure in the Critter Cafe. So there's like this baking competition on the island of Seoul, and for some reason all their fruit and everything is gone. And so it's because the critters are all taking it and doing kind of like their own baking competition. So there's like, they come together, cutesy, yay. Next is one of our favorite series, Mercy Watson. Mercy Watson, Something Wonky This Way Comes by DiCamillo. The writing in these is just so fun, but these, my daughter reads them independently, but we had not read this one together, and we love this series, so there's that. And then last is Jada Jones' Class Act. So Jada Jones is a little girl who loves science. She's in 4th grade, I think. And her friends nominate her and another friend for class representative in the student council. And I loved what this book talked about, because they're good friends, and they like want to start by being good friends and being kind to each other and supporting each other through the race and stuff. And then as campaigns do and as things happen, rumors got started about one of them, and things kind of started to get ugly. And everybody, like the character of these kids, one kid kind of confessed their part, and everybody ended up confessing their part and really like owning up to their behavior. And I loved that. It's a self-awareness that I'm not sure how accurate it is for 4th graders. It seemed like a little more self-aware than they actually are, because that egocentrism is still pretty strong. But I loved that, and I loved just the character conversations that we could have. So I like this series a lot, and we'll continue on. So that's everything that I read with my kids. Now, I did read one middle grade by myself just because it caught my eye at the library. It's called Growing Pangs by Molly Brooks, and this is a story of a little girl. It's her, I mean, it's kind of autobiographical. It says inspired by a true story. Her experience with having OCD, and she really loves musicals. She's redheaded. She's homeschooled. A lot of things that make her a little bit different than other people, and she's got a lot of insecurities combined with that OCD and intrusive thoughts. And it's her navigating kind of a tough time. Friendship groups kind of change. She does go to like an enrichment school one day a week or something, and or a camp or something. I can't remember what, but friendships kind of change. Her best friend gets jealous, and you know, there's just a lot to navigate in this like teen time, like this middle school time. Growing Pangs is it's really good. It's figuring out who you are in your social group, all of that. And this book, this graphic novel, I would say really did a good job. There's not I think this took me maybe 30 or 45 minutes to read max. It's not going to take you a long time, but it is a good read. Especially, I think it would be a good read for kids that see themselves in this character. Okay, so now into the other books that I read for myself. So the two new adults, I think I call them, are The Space in Between and The Fire Between High and Low by Brittainy C. Cherry. So she will always be Brittainy C. Cherry to me. She has dropped the C in her name because now she is traditionally published as opposed to indie published. But anyway, The Space in Between, this was a part of my book I'll revisit, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it now. But it's about Andrea and Cooper, and they had a past. Cooper is the cousin of Andrea's brother's girlfriend or something. I don't know. They're connected somehow. So when they were kids, he would come for the summer. So they kind of knew each other, and now they're adults. Her fiance has just died. She moves to New York and starts working at a strip club. He is there. He comes there. He's the famous photographer turned reality star, trying to clean up his image, kind of. But so his publicist has him go there, and they reconnect, and it starts as a friendship, turns into more. It was fine. I give it 3 stars. Not my favorite. It's got her signature writing style, but it's not my favorite story. And it was just kind of, you could tell it was one of her early ones. Then we have The Fire Between High and Low. This is about Logan, and I can't remember her name. Darn it, I can't remember her name. But they meet one night in a gas station or a grocery store. She's the clerk. He's taking care of his mom and realizes she's spent all their money, and so he can't pay for their groceries, and the two form a friendship. They're very, very different. She's Miss Goody Two-Shoes. He's kind of bad boy. And it's their relationship. I would say this one, he's got a brother that's very involved. He's a half-brother and kind of takes care of the mom. He and the mom, too. They all kind of work together. Mom's got a lot of drug issues. Dad's the dealer and not really involved in their lives, et cetera, et cetera. And this one definitely has more depth. It's definitely got some hard stuff that is discussed. I like this one better. 3.5 stars. Again, again, not like, I'm not saying run out and read this immediately, but it's a good one. Again, this is one of her older ones, and I think you can tell. So those are the two new adults. Those are, I mean, I would say they're in their 20s or whatever, and they get, like, there's mild steam, not a ton of it, like enough that I could just skip those pages, and it was not a ton of it. And I would say the story is definitely more developed, like, than the steam. So still worth reading, kind of with that caveat. So now into the adult book. So this is one that I read physically just because I wanted to, and this is the tome, you guys. This is a thick one. Jill Mansell, Miranda's Big Mistake. So this is Jill Mansell does women's fiction, and a lot of people don't love women's fiction because they think it's boring, because these are generally slice of life stories, and this kind of is. This is about a woman named Miranda and her story. She and then another woman named, gosh, I can't remember the other girl's name, but the other girl finds out she's pregnant, and her husband leaves her because he doesn't want kids, and then Miranda starts to date him, not knowing the situation, obviously. The two paths intertwine. Just a lot of fun, quirky characters. You get to know kind of everybody in their lives, but not in a way that's confusing or overdone, and I like these books. So I think I gave this 3.5 or 4 stars. Let's see, what did I give it? 3.5. Again, nothing like crazy exciting. Nothing. I don't remember details even like 2.5 weeks later. So, but it was a fun read. And if I'm willing to read 500 and gosh, I don't remember what 506 pages of it, then it must be good. So there's that. And then we have Reunited on Dragonfly Lane by Annie Raines. This was for my book haul revisit. So I'm, again, not going to talk a ton about this, but it's about a vet and a boutique owner who, again, had a past. They dated in high school or right out of high school or something. And then there was like, she got into a big hiking injury that kind of, the way he handled it wasn't great. It split him up. And now it's many years later, and they kind of have to work together because of an animal, of a dog. And I like that a lot. So it was cute. It was fun. 3.5 stars. If you're into sweet romance, I would say this is a good one for that. Next is The Perfect Child, or The Perfect Girl by Julie McMillan. This is for the book I'll revisit too, so I will definitely have that link down below. But this is about a girl named Zoe, and she's like a musical prodigy. So is her brother. They're doing like this piano concert, and we know from the beginning that night her mother dies. We don't know why. We don't know what happened. We don't know anything. And it flashes back in time a lot, and I felt like that was kind of confusing. But it was interesting and good. I feel like, so the next book too is Odd Child Out by Julie McMillan, and I feel like in both of these cases, she has a really strong start, and then she kind of loses me in the middle. Like, it needs like 50 to 100 pages of editing, because this one, gosh, how big is this one? I don't know. This one's 400 pages, and this one's probably not far off of that. And I feel like they're just this one's 440 pages. So they're both pretty long, and I don't feel like they needed to be. This one is about two boys, Abdi and Noah, I think. They're both 15. Noah is this very scrawny white guy with health issues. Abdi is a much bigger in stature Somalian boy. And they're out at the canal, and Noah goes in, and we don't know why. We don't know why. Was he pushed? Did he go in on purpose? What happened? Abdi won't speak after the thing. Noah's in intensive care. We're trying to figure out what happened. And again, this one had a really strong start and then kind of like dragged in the middle. This one also tried to tackle some reverse racism that I didn't love, but I actually like this one a little bit better than the other one, so 3.5 stars. This one, the time jumps just got me. There were too many, and they went too far back and didn't, I don't know, they were just okay. Anyway, yeah, there's that. Next is my DNF. So Courage to Dream by Neil Shusterman. So Tales of Hope in the Holocaust. So you guys know I've been like down a rabbit hole of Anne Frank, World War II, all the things. So I saw this and thought I would try it. However, this is a very fantastical experience, and I am not a fantasy reader. I did not understand what was going on. I don't think I was supposed to. I read probably a third or half of it and just didn't know what was going on. didn't care what was going on. Like there's a window that they can see into another universe or something. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I mean, if you like fantasy and World War II, this might be a good combo. I just didn't like it. Next is A Mother's Promise. This is another one for the book I'll revisit. This one was interesting. It tackles a topic that I didn't know very much about. So it's eugenics in Virginia in the 1920s. And this book is based on a true Supreme Court case, Buck versus Bell, maybe? I can't remember. But today, 100 years later, 2024, this is still not overturned. This Supreme Court case that says basically eugenics are okay in certain circumstances. And eugenics, forced sterilization. And so this follows a young woman, Ruth Ann Riley. She is in this institution for the feeble-minded because she had a child out of wedlock. Her mom is there also because her mom has drug abuse and mental health issues. And so they're both there, and they're labeled feeble-minded. Now, Ruth Ann's baby was taken from her when she was born and given to the family of a rapist and really bad situation, and she decides to go find her baby. And also the doctor tells her he's about to make it so she can't have any more babies, and she's trying to fight that. So she gets a pro bono lawyer and is trying to fight that as well as be involved in her child's life. And it's a fascinating topic. I would say the way this book itself was executed, Katie Alden is a pseudonym. I don't know who for, but this is a debut by her. I don't know if it's a debut in general or if this is an author that has other works, but it's definitely felt like a debut. There were some really impactful times, but there were also some like lulls, and some places where we kind of went down rabbit holes and yet things were unexplained, plot holes. So I love the topic of this. Like, it's a fascinating topic. It's a harrowing topic. It's a hard to read about topic. But it wasn't my best reading experience. And then last is the first book in the Read in the New Year readathon that's going on, and this is Beautiful Bad by Annie Ward. Honestly, this one had a lot of time jumps. This one really it didn't have, the other one didn't have nearly as many time jumps, and the time jumps made more sense, and this one had a lot. So I'm gonna be honest that I remember very little about this, but this is about Maddie and Ian. Their love story began overseas, and now he's missing. They have a young child, and we're trying to figure out everything. There's a best friend named Joe who is involved in things. Like, I don't want to tell you a whole lot about this because this is a thriller and a really jump around-y thriller, and so like any details are kind of slowly given to you. But I will say I give this 2 stars. It's multiple perspectives and multiple timelines, and there's, I don't know, whatever. Didn't love it. 2 stars. Anyway, that's everything that I read in the first half of the month. Some good ones, some bad ones. Overall, I've been enjoying my reading. So I don't know if I told you the star ratings. Did I? My overall rating was 3.28. I told you the star ratings kind of as I went. So I DNF'd the 1, had 1 2-star, 2 3 stars, 5 3.5, and 1 4-star. So Growing Pangs was the 4-star. The Neil Shusterman was the DNF, and everything else was kind of in between. So that's kind of how it felt. But overall, not a bad first half of the month. So let me know, how has yours been? How are things? How's the weather where you are? It's, I think, going to warm up this week here. Fingers crossed. Today the Chiefs play, so go Chiefs. By the time you see this, I think I'll get this out Monday, so you will know. And fingers crossed. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.